Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Today we'll continue to read from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, Chapter 3. Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's stay at the house of Advaita Acharya from text 156 onwards. Text 156. Everyone was chanting the holy names of Hari and dancing. In this way, the domicile of Advaita Acharya was converted into Sri Vaikuntapuri. 157. People came to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from various other villages nearby, as well as Navadvipa. 158. To everyone who came to see the Lord from villages nearby, especially from Navadvipa, Advaita Acharya gave residential quarters as well as all kinds of eatables for many days. Indeed, he properly adjusted everything. Text 159. The supplies of Advaita Acharya were inexhaustible and indestructible, as many goods and commodities as he used, just as many again appeared. Text 160. From the day Sachi Mata arrived at the house of Advaita Acharya, she took charge of the cooking and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dined in the company of all the devotees. Text 161. All the people who came there during the day saw Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the friendly behavior of Advaita Acharya. At night, they had the opportunity to see the Lord's dancing and hear his chanting. 162. When the Lord performed Kirtana, he manifested all kinds of transcendental symptoms. He appeared stunned and trembling, his hair stood on end, and his voice faltered. There were tears and devastation. 163. Frequently, the Lord would tumble on the ground. Seeing this, Mother Sachi would cry. 164. Srimati Sachi Mata thought that the body of Nimai was being smashed when he fell down. So she cried, Alas, and petitioned Lord Vishnu. 165. My dear Lord, kindly bestow this benediction as a result of whatever service I have rendered unto you from my childhood. 166. Whenever Nimai falls to the surface of the earth, please do not let him feel any pain. 167. When Mother Sachi was thus overwhelmed in maternal love for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, she became transformed with happiness, fear, and humility, as well as bodily symptoms. 168. Since Advaita Acharya was giving alms and food to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the other devotees, headed by Srivasa Thakura, also desired to give him alms and invite him for lunch. 169. Hearing these proposals made by other devotees of the Lord, Mother Sachi said to the devotees, How many times shall I get the chance to see Nimai again? 170. Sachi Mata submitted. As far as you are concerned, you can meet Nimai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, many times somewhere else. But what is the possibility of my ever meeting him again? Question mark. I shall have to remain at home. Sannyasi never returns to his home. 171. Mother Sachi appealed to all the devotees to give her this charity. As long as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained at the house of Advaita Acharya, only she would supply him food. 172. Hearing this appeal from Mother Sachi, all the devotees offered obeisances and said, We all agree to whatever Mother Sachi desires. 173. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw his mother's great eagerness, he became a little agitated. He therefore assembled all the devotees present and spoke to them. 174. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu informed them all. Without your order, I tried to go to Vrindavana. There was some obstacle, however, and I had to return. 175. My dear friends, although I have suddenly accepted this renounced order, I still know that I shall never be indifferent to you. 176. My dear friends, as long as I remain manifest, I shall never give you up, nor shall I be able to give up my mother. 177. After accepting sannyasa, it is not the duty of a sannyasa to remain at his birthplace encircled by relatives. 178. Make some arrangement so that I may not leave you, and at the same time, people may not blame me for remaining with relatives after taking sannyasa. 179. After hearing Lord Chaitanya's statement, all the devotees, headed by Advaitacharya, approached Mother Sachi. 180. When they submitted Lord Chaitanya's statement, Mother Sachi, who is the mother of the universe, began to speak. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Mataji and Krishna. So we'll go back to the verse 156. Yeah, 156. The context was from yesterday that Lord Chaitanya was visiting Advaitacharya home after he took sannyasa by the tricks of Nityananda Prabhu, of course. And then he took the hospitality, he accepted the hospitality that Advaitacharya offered by staying at his home on his request for 10 days. And during that 10 days, he was chanting and dancing, especially in the evening, he was dancing also. And then we heard how when he saw that Mother Sachidevi came, he received her with great honor and expressed his indebtedness. And then now this is switching a little bit to we yesterday received how saw how Lord Chaitanya received all the other devotees who came also from different places like Navdeep and different villages nearby. They all came to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So interestingly, what did they do when they came is important also. What did they do? They were chanting the names of Lord Hari and dancing. So Advaitacharya's home was converted to Sri Vaikuntapuri. That's Krishnadas Karadas Goswami is writing. Similarly, when devotees meet, also they don't waste time with Prajalpa. They chant the holy name together, or they discuss Krishna's pastimes together, or they hear something together, read something together about Krishna. Of course, there is some space for developing relationships between devotees to speak something to connect with each other. But more important is Krishna Katha, especially if you're there for several hours. So now the Krishnadas Karadas Goswami is describing that people came from several places, and Advaitacharya, how did he receive them is also important for us to note. How did he receive them? Two things are mentioned at least. Okay, one is that he ensured everybody has residential quarters. That means everybody has a place to stay. That's number one point. Number two, everybody has prasadam for all the days that they were staying there. He ensured those two things. So normally, even in many of us, all of us from India also might have noticed when guests come from marriage ceremony also, the host arranges to make sure all of them don't fit in their home, but they make sure that they can stay somewhere, either some friend's home, some relative's home, or a nearby hotel, like that accommodation they arrange like that. And they also make sure there's a prasadam. Of course, if you're not used to prasadam, at least some food, breakfast, lunch, dinner, they arrange it like that, food. So like that, so Advaitacharya was arranging these two, especially was highlighted here. So now another interesting point in 159 is that as Advaitacharya was using all the supplies means like groceries for taking care of guests like this, they again appeared, it seems, as he's exhausting something, it's coming up again, more and more are coming like that. So that's because of Supreme Lord's mercy. So when we're trying to serve Vaishnavas, Supreme Lord reciprocates and ensures that there is enough supply like that. So now text 160 is describing that from the time Sachimata came to Advaitacharya's home, she took charge of cooking, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ate the prasadam that she cooked in the company of all the devotees is described. Mm, yeah, another important thing in this verse 161, 161 was basically 161. Where is 161? Yeah. When the people came during the day to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, uh, they were happy to see the friendly behavior of Advaitacharya also with Lord Chaitanya. And at night, they had the opportunity to see the Lord's dancing and hear his chanting. This is important to note, because when Lord was in Navadipa, before he took sannyas, he was doing Sankirtan every night in Srivas Thakur's home. At that time, it was a closed group Sankirtan in Srivas Thakur's home with doors closed and everything. But now, Lord Chaitanya gave them mercy so they can see his dancing and chanting also. So again is being reiterated that when Lord Chaitanya chanted in Sankirtan like that, he manifested all kinds of transcendental symptoms. He appeared stunned and trembling. His hair stood on end and his voice faltered. There are tears and devastation. I think there's a purport to it. Let me go to the book once. This devastation is explained. Yeah, correct. So basically, devastation is explained the purport to mean there's a combination of happiness and distress that becomes conspicuous by an absence of any sense of them. That means both happiness and distress are simultaneously there, number one. Number two, the person experiencing that symptoms is not having any sense of them like that. So that's what is called pralaya or devastation, it seems. Generally, pralaya we hear as the annihilation, like the universe, like that. Here, pralaya is another word for meaning for devastation, it seems. So this is a higher level of symptoms of a great devotee like that. Here, of course, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, but is experiencing transcendental ecstatic symptoms here. Now, 163, Lord will do, because of the ecstatic symptoms, sometimes Supreme Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would fall on the ground, it seems. Then Mother Sachi would cry, saying that basically that Nimai's body might be hurt like that. So that's what is being explained in the next verses, that she thought that Nimai's body may be smashed when he falls down like that. So as a naturally, like any mother, even though Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so big by now, like any other mother we have experienced also, she prayed to Lord Vishnu for benediction. What is the benediction? That whenever my son falls down on the earth, please do not let him feel any pain like that. And what is she saying? That please bestow this benediction as a result of any service I have rendered to you from my childhood. So she's ready to give up all the credits that she accumulated in worshipping Vishnu from her childhood all the way till now, just so that her son is not hurt like that. That's the nature of mother's heart. That's why Sri Prabhupada used to say that the closest resemblance to pure love of Krishna in this world is mother's love, because they're selfless. Most of others are selfish in some way or the other. Even though they are expressing selfless compassion, that's also many times is quoted with some motivation uh, to be responsible, to be happy, or to be famous, or to be respected in the society, or something like that. But mother's love is such pure like that. So now, yeah, that's a request she made to Lord Vishnu. So then 167 verses purport is describing that uh, she was actually experiencing happiness, fear, and humility, as well as bodily symptoms when seeing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like out of her maternal love like that. So the purport emphasizes one point, one main point. Yeah, few things actually. First point is that Mother Sachi is a Nitya Siddha living entity. That means eternal associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. She is in fact an incarnation of Mother Yashoda, like that is described in the purport. And she was worshipping Lord Vishnu from the beginning of her childhood, it seems. And then now, and that is described by Prabhupada as one of the symptoms of Nitya Siddha devotee. And then, mm, see, I was talking about, yeah, worshipping Vishnu. Yeah. And then later on, she got Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Supreme Lord himself, as her child. Then she started serving him after he is born, like that, also along with Vishnu worship, like that. So, Narottam Das Thakur song is quoted by Prabhupada in the purport, where he's saying that every devotee should know that all the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his family members, friends, and other associates, were all Nitya Siddhas. And Nitya Siddha never forgets the service of the Lord. That's how Prabhupada concludes the purport. So that's why when we are reading Chaitanya Charitamrita or hearing Chaitanya Charitamrita, we're actually seeing how devotees and the Supreme Lord relate with each other, like that. And text 168, this is describing that when everybody saw that Advaita Acharya has got this opportunity to feel Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu every day at his home, like that. Srivas Thakur and other devotees also wanted to get the opportunity to receive Lord Chaitanya in their home and offer for lunch, like that. So in the purport, Prabhupada is writing one principle for Grihasthas. He says, it's the duty of all Grihasthas to invite a sannyasi to their homes if he happens to be in the neighborhood or village. Basically, whenever sannyasi comes to the town or village, Grihasthas should invite him to their home. And in return, what does sannyasi do? Sannyasi enlightens them in spiritual knowledge. So Prabhupada also is writing, that means sannyasi doesn't have any food problems or housing problems, like that. Even though he's traveling extensively everywhere, somebody will take care of him, like that. We also hear the same principle in a different way, that Grihastha's duty is to support brahmacharis and sannyasis, so that they don't have to yearn for the livelihood, because they're dedicating whole life for service of Supreme Lord Krishna. So as Grihasthas, we give charity to brahmacharis and sannyasis, so they're taken care of, well taken care of. So as the point made by Prabhupada here in purport. And then 169th was, after hearing all the proposals made by other devotees, like can Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come to our home? Can Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to our home, like that? Then Mother Sachi was worried. So she says that I don't know when I will see Nimai again, because normally sannyasis don't come to the home back again. So remember, right now Mother Sachi is the opportunity to see, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Advaita Acharya Prabhu's home, and Mother Sachi also came to his home, a neutral place, not her own home. I don't know when else meet again. You guys, you all might have an opportunity to meet him again, like that. So she requested one charity from all of them, which is to, until Lord Chaitanya Prabhu, as long as he stays here, she should get an opportunity to cook for him every day, like that. So they were happy to agree with the proposal by offering obeisances. Not like she's down, meaning even though they're agreeing, but they're agreeing in the mood of humility. That means they're offering obeisances to her first, understanding that it's like an order, they're agreeing, like that. Not like equal, not like somebody lower asking, like that. And then, interestingly, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw his mother's great eagerness that she should be able to see him regularly, is described, he assembled all the devotees present and started speaking to them. We will hear some of it today and some of it in the next session. Basically, is recounting that earlier, remember, he made an attempt to go to Vrindavan after becoming sannyas, but that plan got foiled because of Nityananda Prabhu's trick. So now he's saying, without your order, I tried to go to Vrindavan. There was some obstacle, however, and I had to return. As Lord Chaitanya is saying, that I didn't take your permission before I go. So now, because of that, I could not make it successful like that. So devotees also, it's a nice example for us to consider also. Whenever we are doing anything, anything important in our life, in our spiritual journey also, we take blessings of our spiritual master. We consult them in some decisions, at least some important decisions like that with the spiritual master or our mentor at least. That way, always they remind us one of the factor to consider is our own Krishna consciousness and Krishna consciousness of others around us also. How the decision will impact our Krishna consciousness and Krishna consciousness of others around them. That is the factors also considered along with other practical aspects that we need to consider for any decisions. So like that, and we take permission. And in fact, there used to be one devotee, many of you might know, um, Hriday Chaitanya Prabhu, there's a devotee in Baltimore temple also. He used to tell me, he gave me a Jagannath Baldev Subhadra picture to me, and he told me, you know, keep it in your home every day. Whenever you go out, you pay obeisances. And as soon as you come back home, pay obeisances. Like that he was saying. Actually, that's also in the mood like this only, wherein we're taking permission because we're considering that Jagannath Baldev Subhadra in this example are the Supreme Lord and it is their home. So how when we go to somebody's home, first we treat we meet we greet the host like that, right? And then when we're coming out, we greet the host again, of course, as much as practically possible. So similarly, in our home also, when we are cultivating that mood that this home belongs to Supreme Lord, then we can also do these practical things that will enhance that mood only. That will help to keep that mood. That I need to take permission from Supreme Lord before I go out. When I come back, I see him like that. Like that, we can cultivate. Not just mechanically doing it, of course. Then that doesn't mean much. It still helps because obeisance is also part of devotion service, 64 angas of bhakti. But still, better to do it with a right mood and consciousness and understanding also why we are doing it. So now 175 verse is describing. I think I didn't go. Yeah, there only. Okay. So he's assuring them first that even though I suddenly took the sannyas order, that I shall never become indifferent to you. Remember when Mother Sachi also came, he also used the similar words that I will never be indifferent to you, like that he said. Even though I took sannyas, I will always be indebted to you, like that he was referring to. Now also for the devotees also he's saying the same thing. And then he is saying, I shall never give you up. And then nor shall I be able to give up my mother also. Okay, that is he's assuring now. Even though he took sannyasi, that means he's not gone. Don't write me off like that. Then he's saying that after accepting sannyasa, it's not the duty of sannyasi to remain at his birthplace, encircled by relatives. So, you continue next verse, make some arrangement so that I may not leave you, and at the same time, people may not blame me for remaining with relatives after taking sannyasa. Why is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaking like that? So, one thing to note in devotion service is there is always a balance between uh, always important to consider what is the impact of my actions on myself, my Krishna consciousness, and people around me, whether it's my family members or a temple congregation or the society at large. Because any action that we make, actually, so many people are observing. We will be surprised sometimes to know. Actually, I'm surprised many times when somebody says, I seen your son playing mridanga like that. I don't even know. I never talked to them. First time I'm talking to them. That means people are observing everything. Who's father of whom, who's mother of whom, who is the wife of whom, who is the husband of whom, like that, right? People are observing. So basically, so that is a one factor. That means what is the impact on ourselves, our Krishna consciousness? What is the impact of others and their Krishna consciousness? That is very important to understand. So other thing is In one of the morning classes, we discussed this principle also, but I'm just sharing it because it came in the context, which is there's a healthy balance between thinking what others will think, what others will think when I'm doing this, going to that extreme, that means doing everything for others only. And the other extreme out of that is that I don't care about anybody. I just do whatever I want. Doesn't matter because I'm doing the right thing. Why do I care about others? There's a healthy balance between these two. Why? Because even as devotees, even though we want to please Krishna, so it's important we set the right examples for others to follow. That is one. Number two, uh, when we have the when we have others have good opinion about us, when others see proper action in from us, then it only helps us to do our services better. On the contrary, if we act rude to everybody in life and then we're trying to do our services, then we may not be able to carry out our services properly. Because for every service, we need help from everybody. You can contemplate sometimes. We cannot do any service without help of someone. You can always contemplate. Either the resources are given by somebody, or somebody is sacrificing time so that we don't need to be there with them, or somebody is providing us something so that we can do this service. So many ways. So that's the other factor to consider. That's why we also consider others. What will others think when we act in a way? However, we should not be fully controlled by what others think in our actions. That's also an important factor to consider because we should do the right things also. And especially for Lord Chaitanya, this is one principle you see throughout Chaitanya Charitamrita. Rather, many times in Chaitanya Charitamrita, based on my hearing, of course, I did not read Chaitanya Charitamrita fully, based on my hearing different classes only. So many times we hear Lord Chaitanya wanted to set the perfect example of a sannyasi. That is why some of his actions we'll see are to the extreme, meaning sannyasa should not do this, sannyasa should not do that, like that. Very extreme he took it because he wants to set the role model how sannyasi should be, especially in those days when there were not such good examples around. That is why. So Lord Chaitanya, to set a perfect example, is considering this. For example, if he's breaking the principles of generally followed sannyasa rules, then it's not proper. Everybody will think, oh, sannyas means we can do whatever we want, like that. He did not want to do that. He wants to always keep the sannyas order very pure. That is the example we're seeing here also. That's why he's saying, I should not, people should not blame me for staying with relatives like that, right? That's the reason he's saying that. Not because he's doing everything for others only, like that. That's the point, to set an example, right example. We'll see many pastimes, Chota Haridas pastime coming up, like that we'll see. And then Prataprudha, when he meets the king, he doesn't want to meet him, like that. Several pastimes will see that principle coming up. So that is the idea here. Now, after hearing Lord Chaitanya's statement, all the devotees approach Mother Sachi. That means, remember, he's asking, give me a way where I don't leave you. At the same time, people don't blame me for staying with you, all of you, like that, right? So he's asking, suggest some ideas. So then everybody went to Mother Sachi Devi to seek her input or advice. So when then Mother Sachi began to speak. That's where we pause here. It's like suspense. We'll hear more in next session, 181 and verse onwards. So we'll pause there. श्रीमद् बहुत श्री चैतन्य चैतामृत की जय, कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी की जय, श्रील प्रपाद की जय. Let's offer obeisance to devotees. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.